Writing is boring as hell. It's tedious. It is not fun. It is sheer torture. But it has moments of great joy as well that keep you going. So you have to be willing to put up with all of the tedium and the loneliness. If you're able to withstand all of that, you have a great idea and you structure it well, good luck. I think great things will happen. If you're a would-be author or there's some idea for a book that's kind of swimming around in your brain, is there a process that you can go through some way, because unfortunately, no one's going to teach you that. There are no real good books about that. There's nobody in the business who's going to take the time to lead you by the hand. And so, I've learned through the hard way certain things that I think are very important. The first thing obviously begins with your idea, because there are great ideas and there are bad ideas. And a great idea has a larger resonance to it. It's something that will appeal to people. It can't be something that just excites you or your circle of friends. It has to appeal to something in human psychology and human nature. It has to resonate with our needs, our desires. It has to have a kind of a mythic element to it, right? And if you choose the right subject, because believe me, to get a book published in the world today is not easy. It's a very conservative business. They generally publish writers who've already had success, like myself. But for new writers, it's very hard to crack into it. You have to have an idea that is, only this person can do it. Only Robert Greene could write this book. Only Ryan Holiday or Brent Underwood could write this particular book. It's something you've experienced, you've researched, you've thought about. It means a lot to you. It has this kind of larger mythic impact. But if it's something about how to make $20 million in 3 weeks, and you're just some schlub in an apartment, etc., who's going to believe you? And we can just go out and find somebody else to write your brilliant idea. It has to be exclusive to you, your experience, something that has happened to you, something you've seen, something you've thought about. So it has to come from within, and it has to go, only this person, this guy or this woman can write that book, all right? So your idea has to be solid, okay? You have to have an element of marketing and publicity because you're going to be showing your idea to people, and you have to present it in a way that has this larger-than-life quality. The problem that most people have is they're locked inside their brain. They're thinking about what they like about this idea, etc., right? What interests them. And as I said before, you have to turn that around and you have to think about how other people are going to react to it. You have to shine a light on how this is going to resonate within all of these different readers, on what their interest in it is. And you have to make that very, very clear in your pitch and how you publicize it. That's all the bullshit stuff that goes on in the beginning, the way you package your idea. Then comes the writing, which is the hardest part. And the main reason why books basically suck today, and I hate to say it, but I read a lot of books, and I'm not trying to vaunt myself because I don't do that, but I generally like the books that are written 30, 40, 60, 80, 100, 300, 3,000 years ago. Not that they were writing books 3,000 years ago. The books nowadays are so thin. They have one idea that maybe was a podcast or was a blog post that was kind of interesting, but it's not enough for 300 pages or 250 pages. And the writer just tries to find ways of saying the same thing over and over and over again in different ways. You read the first chapter, it's kind of good. The second chapter starts getting repetitive. By the third chapter, you're throwing it away because it doesn't go anywhere. So you have to have enough ideas for a full book, and you have to plan that ahead. Where most books fail is they're not structured right. They're not ordered right. People are so excited by their idea, but they put no energy into how they're going to organize their material. And this applies to whether you're writing a piece of fiction or nonfiction. A book fails or succeeds by its structure, by its organization, so that chapter 1 is interesting, chapter 8 is just as interesting, and chapter 16 is even more interesting and exciting. You can get people turning the page, going further and further, wanting more and more of you. You've won the game. But that is not easy, and it fails because you don't structure your ideas, you don't structure your material. You have it all over here, scattered in your head, scattered in a few notes here and there. You sit down and you write. You kind of know where to start, but then the second chapter comes and you go, where am I going? I don't know. Well, I'll just go here. You kind of improvise. It has no power. It has no force behind it. It kind of meanders. So knowing how to organize your material is the most important part of writing a book. I've come up with the system that I've helped other people create. You can find your own way where you use note cards. And this would work even with fiction, because fiction is also highly, highly structured. You have to be able to keep people's attention and create a drama that's going on over chapters, over pages, etc., etc. So it works for no matter what kind of book you're doing. You create note cards. You write down your ideas, your research on cards that are clearly organized with a title on it, like a theme. Well, by the time I finish a book, I have over 1,000 note cards, sometimes 2,000. You don't have to be as insane as I am. You can have 500 cards or 200 cards. You have them now in front of you, like your 500 cards, and now you can start seeing the themes, the commonalities, and you can start creating chapters. You can start beginning to structure your book based on the material that you have and give it a sense of flow and give it a sense of order, like there's a person behind it who knows where they're taking you. When you watch a great film or read a great book, it's like the writer is taking you on this journey and you don't know where they're taking to you, but you trust that person who's leading you. They're leading you somewhere interesting. You want to follow them. That's what your great structure will do for you. Don't think that by organizing your book so well, it takes all the fun out of it. I work very hard at always keeping an element in my books where I don't know what I'm doing next. So I have a chapter with 100 cards in it that has my material. It kind of gives me the structure of what I'm going to write, but I don't really know exactly how I'm going to do it. And then as I'm writing it, new ideas come, things come from that I hadn't expected. I'm open to discovering, to changing my idea, to going off on little side routes, but I have an overall structure and I leave myself some room for mystery, for discovery, for excitement, for being creative. That is the key to it. So it's a mix of a structure that's kind of rigid, but it's also a little bit fluid. So it has these kind of guardrails that you're following here in this direction, but the guardrails are a little bit flexible. They can go out here a little bit, out here a little bit, but they don't go out like that. They're in this straight line, but they kind of have room for you to discover and move and change things. Starting with the right idea that excites you, that is personal, but has universal appeal, knowing how to pitch it to other people so that they're interested in it, and then structuring your book, giving it the right order and power and force behind it. You follow those 3 ideas, and believe me, your book will work. Because I know it, because I've seen it. I've helped people write books on many occasions, and that's the first thing I've done, and they've had success in that. They know how to take an idea and make it something that has a larger appeal to it. A lot of people come to me with ideas and I go, that's too banal. That's not exciting enough. You have something there, but let's work on making it have a more universal appeal. Let's make it something that's going to hit people a little more emotionally. It can always be done. And then I help them kind of create a pitch that has more of that larger focus on it, that it will excite people. And then I work on structuring that book and giving it a really solid but exciting form. It's a formula for success. And I guarantee you that if you're a would-be author and you take the time, because understand one thing, writing is not glamorous. Writing is boring as hell. It's tedious. It's torture. It is not fun. Snowboarding, yes, that's fun. Writing, it is not fun. So get out of your head this idea, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to go off in the Caribbean. I'm going to write a great book. I'm going to be Ernest Hemingway. It is sheer torture. But it has moments of great joy as well that keep you going. So you have to be willing to put up with all of the tedium and Loneliness, because you can't write a book in a large crowd or in a crowded cafe or amongst all your friends. You have to be alone. So you have to be willing to be alone and to deal with all of the tedium and the anxiety and the torment. If you're able to withstand all of that, you have a great idea and you structure it well, good luck. I think great things will happen.